Welcome back. In this video, we're going to take a look at what to do if you have more than 20 different debts. So there are two primary spreadsheets for starting your budget. You can either use the one with 12 debts or the one with 20 debts. But I've had plenty of people, send me messages and emails saying, what do I do if I have more than 20 different debts? How do I still use the spreadsheets? And the answer is very simple. So you're going to definitely use the one that has 20 debts. And then within that, you are going to list 19 different debts. So like I've got them right here. This is 19 of them. And then in the slot for number 20, you are basically going to put everything else. And so you are going to list, and you can list the names of different debts. And so another option, of course, is that you could group them if you have more than just a couple extra. If you had, let's say if you had 30, you could do in the last set of these, you could make this one 3 debts, this one 3 debts, this one 2 debts, this one, right? And so you could combine them and you're going to list the names of them. And when you fill this out, the starting balance is going to be the total combined amount. So in this example, $4,574 is the total of the balances for the credit cards for Kohl's, TJ Maxx, and Apple. Now, I'm not going to list an APR because obviously they're all different, and I'm not going to list a due fund by date because they're all different. If I wanted to, I could put it in parentheses here that this one is like the third. I could write it out like that. I could put it for each of those. You can customize this however you want. You can also just write a note here that, pay Kohl's credit card on the 3rd. You could consider grouping them by due date. So if, for example, Kohl's really was due on the 3rd, I could group it up here with Discover if I wanted to, because the due dates are around the same time of the month. In general, my suggestion here is when you make a debt payoff plan, you are putting your debts in some kind of order where you are going to target them. Like, okay, I'm going to work on this one first, and then I'm going to take out that one next. And if you've got more than 20, that's way more than you even need to be holding in your head at any one time, right? So in this case, I said, okay, I'm going to work on Macy's first because the balance is so low. I'm following the snowball method. So I don't even need to be worried about anything else really right now. So just make sure that whichever one you are prioritizing is listed by itself. Like, make sure that one is not grouped with anything else. But ultimately, it really doesn't matter that you've grouped things, because eventually, once you get to 20 or below, everything will have its own slot, and that is totally fine. So here's how this works. We've listed the starting balance. The minimum payment listed here is the total of the minimum payments here. So in this case, it's like if 2 of them were 25 each, and then the other ones, the remainder, I need $245 ultimately for all 3 of these to pay the minimums only. Okay, so then when we jump over to the budget page, and this is like a blank starting, I put in my balances here. I have not yet budgeted the money into any category. I'm just showing you how this works. So basically, I would go through and I would, be funding things. And okay, so we need 108 for that. We're going to need 482 for that. I'm going to need 245 for this. And that means that is the amount I will need for all 3 of these. So here's what happens. Let's say the Kohl's credit card has a $25 minimum payment. I've put 245 in the envelope essentially for this. And it's time to pay the Kohl's credit card. So let's say that this budget is for March. So we're going to say March 3rd. And we're going to say we're moving $25 from checking to this one. Okay. And so this has now decreased by $25. And our total available in this group, in this envelope, has now decreased. We've paid $25. When we go over to the debt for this one, it's our very last one. I'm going to slide the scroll wheel on my mouse and it's going to scroll across. And we see for debt 20, it's listed right here. In notes, I could write that this was Kohl's so that I know that's the payment that I made, even though for line T1, which is debts and transfers 1, when we jump back over, you can see it was in this line T1. And so it was in the group, but we made a note and we know that it was for Kohl's. Now, I suggest that if you spend on your credit cards and you're doing the thing where you check this box, I highly suggest that any credit card that you spend on is listed just on its own for like simplicity's sake and to eliminate confusion. Otherwise, you'd be making like a note in every transaction, like which credit card you actually spent it on. So I would say be sure that anything beyond debt number 19, anything that's grouped, is something where you are simply paying down the debt and you're not adding to the debt. When you begin a new budget spreadsheet each month, so this one is March, when you would begin April and May and June, whatever you have already paid off and like doesn't exist anymore, or you're not going to be spending on it anymore, you're going to take it off your spreadsheet. There's no need to have it on here. So if you got to the point where you paid off the Macy's credit card and you're not going to be spending on it, that can be eliminated in April. And then what's going to happen is we have 3 here. Everything will basically bump up, and this will only contain 2 of them because one of them will take slot number 19. All right, best of luck with your debt payoff, and congratulations on taking control of your finances and deciding that debt feels overwhelming right now, and it doesn't always have to feel that way. You're going to get this all sorted out, and your list will shrink more and more each month, and you're going to be able to see the number of debts decrease and the total balance of the debt go down as well.